Welcome to the Double R Show, the podcast that features everything about North Lincoln County. The Double R Show, directed and produced by Paul Robertson and hosted by the voice of Lincoln City, Roger Robertson.
Foster child care. Seems like such an easy phrase to say, but it has so much meat to helping children. We have two special guests from the Oregon Youth Authority, foster care certifier.
Yes.
Did I get it out right? Christin Pickle is here.
Yep.
And Daniel, your job with the organization again is?
I'm with Oregon Youth Authority Foster Care as well, and a certifier as well.
You're a certifier as well.
Yes.
A certifier does what?
So we basically certify foster homes. So we recruit, retain, and certify foster homes and do all the things in between.
Now, when we're talking about foster homes, we're talking about at-risk children?
Yes. We work with at-risk youth that are ages 12 to 24. They have gotten some kind of trouble, and so they do come with a parole or probation officer as well.
So what kind of qualifications does somebody have to work with the program?
You have to be at least 21 years of age to work with our population of 12 to 18. If you want to work with our older population of 18 to 24, then you have to be at least 25. And we do background checks, both state and federal, and then you have training that you have to do. We do a in-person interview. There's an application process. We do look at references. We do a cleanliness safety check. All the things that you would hope that we would do, we do that.
Do you have people in North Lincoln County, or do you need people in North Lincoln County?
We need people in North Lincoln County. We do not have any homes in the area.
Why is that?
It's a hard ask.
Okay.
We ask people, and a lot of people want to do it, but at the same time, people think that other people are going to do it, right? And so they just look the other way, kind of like, oh, somebody else will do it, even though maybe they have the passion to want to help, but they don't want that big of a commitment, because it is a commitment. You're taking other people's children in.
You're bringing the child into the home.
Yes, and it's 24/7 care. I mean, just as if you had your own child, you're raising somebody else's.
I would have to think that on occasion, and probably more times than not, you bring a child into the home, you don't want to let that child leave the home.
It's true. I mean, you do get an attachment. The nice thing with our agency is if you remain in contact, which we kind of hope you do, right? Because you're building that relationship and that bond, that it's okay. You can maintain that contact. And a lot of our kids, go on to lead productive lives, which is what we hope for. You're teaching them the skills that they need to be in the community and to maintain work or go to school and those kinds of things. And I have homes that maintain their connections, and they've got kids in college that, come home on breaks and, visit during holidays, like all the things. And so that's what we hope for, that when you do build that connection, so it just end when they walk out the door.
Daniel, what kind of financial commitment does a family have to make, or two adults have to make to bring that child into the home?
They just have to have enough income coming in, and then we do an assessment on that. And then there's a reimbursement rate that we provide for the parents. Mm-hmm. I think it's like 17.
It's just shy of $1,800.
Yeah, sorry, 1,800. Yep.
$1,800 a month?
Yes, per youth.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the reimbursement rate.
We have been in this situation where we've had children come into our house. It's a tough thing to do, but it is so rewarding.
Very much so. I mean, just that connection that you make and the bond that you build. And not all youth are going to want that bond, but you're going to have those that really connect with you, and then they call you later on, and maybe you don't see the seed you're planting now, but years later they call you and like, hey, I want you to know that I'm doing good. I'm married. I've got 2 kids. Like, those are the rewarding things that you do get out of being a foster parent.
And again, so we don't have the two mixed up. You got the being a foster parent through the Oregon Youth Authority, and then you got the DHS. It's two different things, correct?
Absolutely. Completely separate. DHS has their own program. So we are not working with DHS. We are not DHS. Our youth have been committed to the Oregon Youth Authority, which is the state level for the criminal justice system for our kids. So there's no connection to DHS whatsoever.
Do the parents know what the child has been incarcerated for or charged with, or whatever the right terminology would be?
Yes. So our kids, their parents generally know what's going on. They've followed along the steps. They've either been incarcerated, Most of our kids are actually in the community, whether it's a community program or at home, but we do have some youth that don't have a home to be at. And so that's where foster care comes into play. Or maybe they've done the work they need to do in a community program, but maybe mom and dad aren't necessarily ready for them to come home yet. So then they do a little bit of work in the community with a foster parent in that like home setting. So they're going to school, they're working, maybe they're going to college, whatever that looks like for them. And then maybe they get to transition home, or maybe we work on transitioning to their own apartment.
Now, you talked about the monies that come back to the family, reimbursement for food and everything else. What other support comes from your organization to that parent that is supporting that child?
And that, to me, that's the biggest difference with us as compared to child welfare. Because the youth are adjudicated, they do have a parole officer that's tied with the youth. And so they provide that support. They check on the youth once a month. We also have our certifiers, such as us. We do weekly phone calls to check in on the foster parent, to see how things are going with the youth, if they have any needs. And then we have monthly in-person visits. And so we get to know our foster parents really good, just because we build that relationship, there's that supervision, and then it's like we're creating a team of support, with us, the parole officer, the foster parent, to surround resources for that youth.
What do you do with a potential parent that says, oh, I would like to be in this program, but in July I'm going to do this?
So that's where our respite providers come in.
Okay.
And so we need a bunch of respite providers as well. And so like you said, if a foster parent says, I'm going on vacation, then us certifiers, we communicate with each other, and then we look for a respite home where we can place that youth for that length of time.
In your estimation, the best thing a parent gets out of the program is what?
For me, I think parents, they get to be that family for them. And they get to show the youth what a positive home might look like. Because a lot of the youth, they've gone through a lot of different placements before they come to our foster homes. And so, like, one of my foster parents, his thing when he does a screening, he's like, are you okay to have dinner? And we sit down every day when we do dinner. And he's intentional about it. And so when the youth says yes, then, every night to sit down, catch up, and build that relationship. And he says, he's had a lot of kids come through, and he's like, kids call me back, and they're like, we do this with our kids now.
Very good. Finally, can you tell me, if I would like to get involved with the program, where do I go? Who do I call?
Yes, absolutely. So you can get a hold of me if you're in Lincoln County. I would be the certifier that you would get in touch with. And my phone number is 503-586-8015, and my email address is christin.pickle@oia.oregon.gov, and that's CHRISTIN.PICKLE.
And if you happen to miss it, we have it here in the studio. We'll be back in just a moment.
Bob's Beach Books in the Ocean Lake area of Lincoln City does in fact have what you'll want to read. I'm Diana Portwood, and if we happen to be out of a particular bestseller, in a day or two, we'll have it back in the store waiting for you. Bob's Beach Books, so you can join the conversation.
Wouldn't it be great to have all your insurance needs handled by one agency? This is Charlotte Lado with Farmers Insurance and the Insurance Store. Visit our office next to the Wildflower Grill in Lincoln City. Let us be your one stop for your personal, commercial, health, and Medicare insurance needs.
Earlier in the show, we had the opportunity to talk about foster care for youth, the Oregon Youth Authority. We're going to tie a little bit to that program and switch gears to the Tillamook Estuary Partnership. Steve Sprague is with us. Tillamook Estuary Partnership is what, Steve?
So we're a nonprofit based out of Tillamook County that does riparian restoration all over the county, pretty much from Florence up to Astoria. And our focus is on restoring habitat for coho salmon. And we've started also working on the endangered Oregon silver spot butterfly.
Rather interesting. What is the tie with the Oregon Youth Authority then?
We have a native plant nursery up just south of Tillamook. And
Okay.
we're on the grounds of Camp Tillamook, which is a minimum security OIA facility. And all of my work crew at the nursery is incarcerated youth.
Tied in again with the Oregon Youth Authority.
Correct, yeah.
Interesting. What do the kids learn from that program?
It varies depending on the kid. A lot of these kids have been incarcerated from a very young age. They've never had a job. They've never been out into the workforce. So we try to teach them not only restoration and plant-related nursery skills, but we also try to teach them some of those soft skills that they'll need to go out into the workforce when they're released. This program is the last step before they get released out back into the general population. So, we teach them things like communication, problem solving, conflict resolution, how to show up for work on time, how to be present at work, how to work when you're scheduled. It's all those things that a lot of us take for granted.
It's far from just this is the type of plant we're going to plant in position X.
Well, there's some of that too. But yeah, it goes far beyond that. And, it's a mutually beneficial relationship because we couldn't do what we do without them. As far as employees at the nursery, there's just 3 of us. So, and last year we grew over 120,000 native plants.
Really?
Yeah. So there's no way we could do it without them. So I like to think of it like kind of like our plants where we take them and we raise them up till they have a really good chance, or the best chance they can have out in the world. We try to do the same thing with our youth.
Wonderful analogy. Wonderful analogy. And so true.
Yeah, I mean, once they go out, we don't always know what happens, but, we know that we hopefully left them better than we found them.
So we talking kids 16, 17, 18? What are the age range we're talking about here?
Most of the kids on my work crew are between the ages of 16 and 24. I get to call them youth because I'm over 40, so I can call a 24-year-old a youth. So, but a lot of them have been incarcerated, for 6, 7, 8 years. So they were incarcerated at a young age.
So you have these kids and you could have them for a year, 2 years, several years?
Yeah, it really depends. Hopefully we don't have them for too long because that's part of the OYA thing. They have to jump through all their hoops, go to all their therapy, meet with their parole officers, all that stuff. And so a lot of them don't have set sentences. It's really however long they're there and however long it takes them to complete their treatment.
Mm-hmm. What would be the average day, if you will, that Steve Sprague would have with these youth?
Well, for example, I'll just talk about today. So today, when the youth showed up, we're in the middle of transplanting season. So we're taking all our seedlings from last year and transplanting them into larger pots so they can start going outside. So today I had the youth work on transplanting some red flowering currant, some ribes sanguineum. They transplanted about 650 today. Then went out and did some cleanup, did some organization, and that's a pretty typical day. They only work about 4.5 hours a day.
Are they anxious to do that?
Sometimes, some are, sometimes more than others. As part of this, they get to go outside the fence, which not all the kids have the chance to do. So it is, a lot of them are excited, and they get to express themselves. They get to listen to music. They get to be a little bit more relaxed. It's less structured, than things are. There's less of that power dynamic that you get inside an institution. So it's a little bit more egalitarian, a little bit like freer than what they get on the inside.
Now, you mentioned before we get on the air that you've got a couple of special events coming up. Do you want to tell us what those are?
Yeah, so coming up, actually, it's ongoing right now. We're doing our native plant sale. So usually we're not open to the public. We don't sell plants to the general public. We only distribute them to our partners. But because we had extra plants this year, we're going to be opening up to the public and allowing them to come in and browse our selection and purchase plants from us. Right now, we have online ordering going. So if you go to tbnep.org, all the ordering information is on there. Online ordering ends on April 7th, and then we're having an in-person event on April 13th from noon to 3 o'clock where people can come pick up their online orders and then also browse, tour the nursery, look around, see if there's anything else that they want to pick up.
Okay, and the other event is what, Steve?
So coming up on April 20th, we have our big fundraiser that TEP does every year. It's called Bounty on the Bay. It's at Pacific Restaurant in Tillamook. There's a fundraiser. There's an online auction that starts April 8th through the 14th. And then on the date, April 20th, there's an open house where anybody can come in and we'll have presentations about what we do. And then there's also a ticketed fundraiser dinner that same night that people can buy tickets for.
So you need the money for what?
Well, we're entirely funded. We're a nonprofit. We're entirely funded by grants and some money from the EPA and the bipartisan infrastructure legislation that was passed. But, we always are in need. So in order to do that riparian restoration, in order to get out there, dig new channels, put large woody debris for salmon into rivers and plant trees, we need help to do that.
And you do this up and down the entire Oregon coast, right?
We're pretty much contained from Florence north to Astoria.
Okay.
But I mean, the opportunities are always there. If a good opportunity presents itself, we're more than happy to
How
look
big
into
a
it.
crew would you take out at any given time?
So we have about 16 employees right now. But that being said, we work with contractors and, whoever we need to work with in order to get the jobs done.
Good stuff. And those events going to be in Tillamook? And again, the dates are?
The date for the in-person event for the native plant sale is April 13th. That's from noon to 3 o'clock.
And anybody can come by them?
Anybody can come by, but if you want to get a jump on it, because supplies are limited, we are doing online ordering right now, and that's going on from now until 11:59 p.m. on April 7th.
And the type of plants, again, Steve, that we're talking about?
They're all native plants. They're all native to the coast. So not only are they native to Oregon, they're native to this region, which is really what makes what we do special, is that we actually go out into the wild, collect the seeds, bring them back to the nursery. The crew helps clean them and store them, and we germinate them. So they're all genetically appropriate. They're all adapted. So we have really good survival rates.
So the youth are involved in all of the processes?
All the processes. We have a yearly production cycle, that goes from collecting seeds, sowing seeds, transplanting trees, thinning and spacing of seedlings. I mean, it's never stops.
All going to help the environment and our youth of tomorrow.
That's right.
Wonderful choice. Steve Sprague, Tillamook Estuary Partnership. Back in a moment.
We at La Roca are proud of our food, but don't take our word for it. Read the reviews. One person wrote, "The service was friendly and efficient." Another writes, "La Roca has become one of our favorites because it's authentic Mexican food."
If you're looking for great early garden fresh produce, it's Kenny's IGA in the Bay Area of Lincoln City. 4 generations of Morgans caring for your every grocery need. All of your favorite beverages, a full deli, meat, produce, and of course, groceries. Our next guest is a good friend of mine, Ed Armstrong, and Ed has been involved in lots of governmental projects throughout your entire career, have you not?
Yeah, including my years as a school administrator. I was often involved with Oregon Department of Education on doing a number of different projects for them.
Got Ed to come in and talk a little bit about volunteering for governmental agencies. Seems like it's a big deal, but if you don't, you get the government you expected, correct?
I think a lot of times people don't realize, in fact, I myself have to admit a little bit of ignorance, there are over 250 boards and commissions in the state of Oregon that volunteers can serve on.
On the state government side?
On the state government side.
We're not talking about city, county.
Nope.
This is state volunteer opportunities.
Absolutely. So you're looking at anywhere from being on a board of forestry, which has 7 members, I believe, to Department of Agriculture, to actually there's a commission on community service, believe it or not. So one of the early commissions that I served on was the Oregon Community Service Commission, and their charter from Barbara Roberts at that point was to bring the AmeriCorps program to the state of Oregon. So that's, something,
really cool.
yeah, so that's a huge program that serves a lot of young people. So when the AmeriCorps program, which is basically the domestic Peace Corps, came out as a national program, I was on the commission that helped bring it to Oregon. So that was pretty cool.
How do you get on a commission or one of these bodies?
Well, sometimes you're asked. The last commission I was on, the Environmental Quality Commission, my name was given to John Kitzhaber through the director of DEQ, and it's actually the Senate has to approve that particular position. So I had to go through a little more process,
That's a bunch of
government
hoops.
process, yes, because it's one that it restricts, for example, people that might have a vested interest of changing policy for helping their business, for example. So they avoid people that have kind of a stake in the arena for maybe changing policy that might benefit them personally or their company.
One of the projects that you could probably get into that is near and dear to your heart, education.
Yeah, I actually was trained as a biologist when I went to college. So like Paul, I have some science background. But I'll go a little bit back in history. My first and it really wasn't a commission, but it was my first governor experience was actually with Tom McCall when I was 17.
Really?
So Tom McCall and I working together, we actually put on the first Earth Day celebration in the city of Forest Grove.
So how did you get into that?
Well, I had a chemistry teacher, high school chemistry teacher, that had a friend in state government, and he wanted young people to be more involved in the environment. This is 1969, if you would. And so at that point in time, even the EPA was just emerging, actually hadn't been formed yet. And there was a real emphasis. We had a program called Emphasis on Survival, of all things, but we focused on air pollution. And so it was a fun year for me to work with then Governor Tom McCall to put this thing together. And you'll get a kick out of this, Roger, because as much as COVID made us mask up, the entire city of Forest Grove came over to the high school, literally. I mean, we had thousands of people in the Forest Grove auditorium, and we had them all wear masks. So I was before my time, if you would, in 1970.
And the reason being?
To put a statement forward about the quality of air. So it wasn't about the virus, but it was about the quality of air.
So you have been on both sides of the aisle, if you will, McCall being a Republican, Barbara Roberts a Democrat. Difficult to get appointed by two different parties?
No, actually, usually if it's a appointment, if you will, they really want balance. So they want, reds and blues and independents, to serve. So they try, it's not necessarily a 50-50 balance, but what they're really trying to do in the agency is give that voice of knowledge from a variety of different perspectives. So when I was appointed to my last public service commission, the Environmental Quality Commission, they actually oversee the Department of Environmental Quality as far as setting the policies. So some of these commissions are advisory, but EQC is different because it actually approves
Says policy.
The policy and the rules. So DEQ would bring forth a rule, and the commission would say yay or nay. For example, on the clean air program, we had to go through that difficult time.
Any goals for any further commissions or boards you'd like to tackle?
I understand from a secret source at the government that someone threw my name into another board, and I don't know where that'll go. But I've actually served, Roger, since Tom McCall, I've served on a commission or a board for every governor since Tom McCall.
Really?
Yes. So
that's rather remarkable.
It is remarkable, isn't it? Yeah. So I mean, I think people think it's some kind of magical thing, that obviously if you're going on to a commission that requires a state appointment or Senate appointment, it's a little different. But there's a number of commissions that are always actively looking for board members or volunteers. And it's a great way to see this state. I mean, I've traveled, from Paisley to down to Powers, seeing what those communities need in a variety of things. So you really get a view of what each of the communities in Oregon need, and it gives a voice. It gives a voice to those smaller communities.
Be involved.
Yeah, very, very much involved.
All right. Ed Armstrong, our guest. Back in a moment.
Northwest Septic Service is your one-stop shop for all your septic needs.
Northwest Septic Service offers pumping, maintenance, repair, and inspections with one call, 541-994-6977.
Buying or selling a home? Northwest Septic Service can inspect your sewer line or an entire septic system.
Old or failing septic system? Northwest Septic Service can rejuvenate most drain fields, saving you thousands of dollars. 541-994-6977.
Serving Lincoln, Tillamook, and Yamhill counties, Northwest Septic Service. Zeller's is where it's happening, and it's happening again this weekend. With us is Adina Zeller, and this weekend you got music.
Yes, we do. We have Xiong in the house, a 90s tribute band, and we're really excited. We don't get them very often. And they just rock the house down, and it's just like country, rock music. It's just a combination of all your 90s stuff that you missed out on when you were younger.
You get all sorts of entertainment and music and dance. Everything is here.
Yes, every Wednesday night we still do the line dancing. That starts at 7 o'clock, and then immediately afterwards we do karaoke. We are karaoke every night of the week unless we have a band. And that starts at 8:30 Sunday through Thursday, and then Friday and Saturday it starts at 9, and it goes until we close.
Oh, do you get up and sing?
I have.
Have you really? Hey, you sing what kind of music?
Only song I can sing is Delta Dawn.
Delta Dawn, yeah. What do you got going on? So the food is going to great guns.
Yep, the food is really, really good. We throw specials nightly. Between here and the other restaurant, we have different specials every night. Like on Tuesday nights, it's Taco Tuesday and Prime Rib Friday, every Friday out in Otis at our Riverside place. And then here, we just have specials going all the time.
The prime rib, every time I've been out there, I have seen probably as many people carrying the prime rib out as eating in the restaurant because they're taking it home.
We deliver it. We actually have a small delivery service out there and at the Riverside location, and it starts at 3:30 every Friday.
Really? So you pick up the phone, have it brought right to you?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, we'll deliver that stuff to you. We want you to have it. Try it.
And the prime rib is really quite special.
Very good. It's very good. It's very good price. It's very, very good. It's a choice cut, and it's a 12-ounce cut, so it's really good.
Is this prepared to Dina style?
It is prepared to Dina style. No other way.
I love it. Zeller's has got good food, good music, good fun, but it has a hometown family atmosphere.
We are absolutely family here. All of our employees here, we all work together. They won't do anything that I won't do. I won't do anything that they won't do. We just work together, and that's how it is because that's the community we live in. It's all family.
And again, this weekend, music is special band.
Xiong. Xiong starts at 8:30. Don't miss it. 90s tribute band. I'm so excited.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
There's Dina Zeller here at Zeller's. And remember, there are two locations, Lincoln City and Rose Lodge. The food is comparable both places.
Absolutely. We have a little bit different menu at both places, but don't forget to try our clam chowder. Always top notch.
Well, Lincoln City Community Days is just around the corner. It'll kick off on Friday, April the 12th. Northwest Natural is going to have that big barbecue or bonfire, rather, down in the Taft Beach near Mose. That'll be around about 6 o'clock at night. On Saturday, Rotary Mudflat Golf Classic. Paul, you played in this. It's pretty fun.
It's always a great time, yeah, and it's a benefit for the golf programs, and so it's a really great time.
And that's going to be on the beach in the bay near Pelican Brewery. From 10 until 1. Also on Saturday the 13th, we got a scavenger hunt put on by the Cascade Head Biosphere Research. What's that all about?
Yeah, so we're doing a kind of nature and place-based scavenger hunt at Regatta Park. And so it's going to be the 13th from 2 to 3:30. It's a family-friendly event, free for all, and we're going to have prizes and for who's finding, this, that, and the other thing. And the big feature, of course, is the heritage tree there, too. So
very good. Also on Saturday, we have the Community Day Celebration Awards Banquet. This is going to be at the Cultural Center starting at 6. A casual celebration with a no-host bar, snacks, and some food for sale. There are 5 different categories, and I'm sorry I don't have the categories in front of me, of people that you can nominate for special awards. And it's just a fun way to recognize all of the community leaders and those that give back so much to the greater Lincoln City area. On Tuesday, April the 16th, reviving our hometown history. We talked to Andy Morgan about this some time ago, and this will be up at the Oregon Coast Community College at 5:30 with Andy Morgan and a host of people talking about the history or their history in Lincoln City. On Wednesday, the 17th, Secrets of Salsa, wonderful event. This will be the second time at St. Peter the Fisherman Lutheran Church, 5 until 8. On the 18th, we get the Ducky Derby, the food drive, and let's see, the food drive will be in front of the Cultural Center, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. It'll be kicked off by the Kiwanis Club, by the way. Some of the other organizations need to sleep in a little longer. And I know I'm going to hear about it over that one. Lincoln City Parks and Rec, Coastal Dreams, a park for all, will be featured on Friday the 19th. Social Hour fundraiser. This it will be at Chinook Winds Casino Resort. Great Oregon Coast Garage Sale, April 19th through 21. On Saturday the 20th, the Kiwanis Pancake Breakfast, Solve Beach Cleanup, Westwind Earth Day Celebration, and Family Promise Benefit Fashion Show at the Beach Club Events Center. And the concluding event, Surf and Earth, Earth Day Celebration Music Surf Swap at the Lincoln City Cultural Center.
Yeah, that's another great event, too. And I was just going to say to the listening audience, if some of these are unfamiliar to you, just go and check them out and see what it's all about. Community Days is a whole slew of things, and you can go to 1 or 10 different things throughout the couple of weeks.
And the posters are going to be all over town, so you'll have an opportunity to stay ahead of what events are coming up and what days they're going to be. Speaking of events coming up, one show that I know I will not miss is going to be at Chinook Winds Casino Resort. The Village people are coming.
Yeah, you were talking about that last week, I think, how exciting that is going to be.
Village people on Saturday, June 8th. Doors open at 7 o'clock. Tickets are on sale. And again, this is just a one-in-a-million show. One show, one night at Chinook Winds Casino Resort. And that's what they're doing with a lot of the shows.
Yeah, they got
really
Loverboy coming, and this is amazing lineup to get the Village people. I mean, I just think back to like 1976, and I first listening to YMCA or something. Hearing it as whatever age that would have been. I probably wasn't even born back then, was I? Who knows? Who knows these years?
Yeah, okay, these kids. April 19 and 20, also at Chinook Winds, we got Comedy on the Coast. Tickets are on sale for that. And speaking of Chinook Winds, going to give away another coupon for the buffet. It's good for $30 at any of the food outlets at Chinook Winds. And what we're doing is asking people to send us an email that they are, in fact, listening to the podcast and how they're listening to the podcast.
Right, yeah. So is it on Spotify? Is it on Apple Podcasts? Are you listening through our website? How are you getting the podcast? And just let us know how you're getting there and that you are listening.
It's 3 of the people that responded this past week. One said that they're listening on Apple. Another said YouTube Premium. What is YouTube
That's
Premium?
the Google Podcast switchover. Yep.
Okay. And then last but not least, we have another person, Susan Waukee, mayor of the city of Lincoln City, says she gets her email. She has not missed a program since we started.
Well, thank you for listening.
This is not grand and glorious.
Yeah.
So we're going to give away right now, got the mix up the bowl, and we'll have a winner for the buffet at Chinook Winds. I close my eyes, reach into the hat, and pull out this one. And I have Andrea Sevenson. Andrea Sevenson wins a buffet dinner for one or $30 at the Rogue River Room. Aces, the hotel.
The grill down there, and the deli in the casino. Yeah, all those different venues that Chinook Winds is eligible. Yeah,
Chinook Winds, because it is better at the beach. Food is always better at the beach. Enjoy. Anything else to your side of the table?
No, I think that'll wrap it up for the week. Thanks.
And it was interesting the way the program came together again this week. I do appreciate all of the people, the hard work that they put in, especially with the youth and working with the youth to make certain that they come out and do what needs to be done.
Fostering restoration, in so many ways.
And for the environment and for the youth themselves.
Yep.
That'll do it to the Dunes on the Double R Show. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share so you and your family and friends around the world and across the street can join us on the Double R Show. For Paul and Jenna, I am Double R. Have yourself a happy day.
You've been listening to The Double R Show. Join Roger and Paul Robertson as they explore everything about North Lincoln County. The Double R Show, produced by Always Productions and hosted by Roger Robertson. Have a story? Email contact@alwaysproductions.com or call 458-201-3039. For The Double R Show, I'm Jana Grawn.